What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and the next episode of the MotoGP 25 career mode for part number 14 today at the Hungarian Grand Prix, a brand new circuit on the MotoGP calendar, Balaton Park. And I must say, in the real life MotoGP season earlier this year, the Hungarian Grand Prix wasn't a spectacle that everybody, I think, hoped it would be. It was a bit of a finicky circuit, and the race in itself wasn't spectacular either, and a few question marks and eyebrows raised over the safety with the changes of direction and crashing back onto the circuit, and also Pedro Acosta's bike reaching the barrier, and not just the barrier, the cameraman as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend in our career mode universe as we get to grips with this new Balaton Park circuit. At the time of recording this, I hadn't done many laps around the Balaton circuit, and to get our eye dialed into it, of course, it is a wet Friday here in Hungary, and when it matters, we've got to put it on the line in the wet conditions to try and secure a space directly into Q2. So as we're coming into turn 1 around the outside of Quiles, we've got Moodley and Luca Lanetta coming out of the pit lane. We try and get a switch back, and Quiles is there as well. It's all a little bit messy on our opening flying lap, and that is pretty much going to be this lap ruled out as we go bar to bar with Rucci Moodley, who, don't forget, is on an out lap. So a little bit frustrating. We've got Noah Detweiler and Luca Lanetta ahead on the CIP bike and the Aspar, but as we skip on to the next lap, we are now behind our teammate Nicola Caro, so we might be able to use our teammate as a little bit of a reference, depending how quick he is around this Balaton circuit compared to us, which I think in these conditions especially, we've seen it in the past, we aren't particularly quick in the wet weather conditions. And yeah, we're going to have to really, like I say, give it everything and stick our neck out, put it all on the line to try and get into the top 14, which after the first couple of laps flying in, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult as we come to the end of what will be our first valid flying lap. The first lap, a 2-minute dead, 7 seconds off Almanza, a little bit of track excursion and running wide and running off the track as we tried to find a little bit of space. But you can see Nicola Carraro has gapped us so much in that opening lap. He's disappeared up the road. Our best lap of 56.0 as we get a little squiggle on and through the final corner. So we're still a good 2 seconds, 2.2 seconds there, it says on the left-hand side. Oh, Furusato, the victor of the Austrian Grand Prix last time out in this career mode save, and he leads the way in FP1, but not for long, no, because Matteo Bertelli has replaced him at the top of the timesheets. This lap coming in from us, though, a little bit better. We've managed to reduce the gap to 2.1 seconds with a 55.9, two 55.9s in a row. But we need to be higher than that. We need to be in the 54s, I think. If anything, based off the fastest time of Bertelli at 53.7. This lap coming in a little bit better, a couple of tenths improvement, just under half a second. I think we're going to improve on our time, but it's still going to be a mid 55, which I don't think is going to be anywhere near good enough for the top 14. In fact, it's not even good enough to move us out of 26th place, so we remain 26th. And I think bottom of the Moto3 standings at the minute. But as we come into the little chicane towards the end of the lap, as we've got 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining on the clock, we've got half a second to Bawasri in 12th. So I think if we can find a couple of tenths, we might just claw our way in to the top 14 if we're only half a second off the top 12. So let's see what we can do as we come through this final corner. A little bit of time to find. A big dive bomb there from, who's that, Perone, Valentin Perone, and we're going to pick up a slipstream, and we might just nab half a tenth from him as we cross the line. It's going to be 2.5 tenths improvement, and it's still 26th in the Moto3 field. So I think as we get a big slide into turn number 1, I think we're close, but we're quite the way off. And as we go for a final lap, we were pushing the boundaries. We're 2.5 tenths up going into turn number 1, and that's because I broke 2.5 tenths too late. But as you can see, we're actually nowhere near whatsoever at the end of that one. The graphic was lying to us, and I think the gap that it was saying was actually to the rider ahead and not Bawasri in 12th like it was kind of making out. But good news is, as we head into qualifying for Q1, which I think, I might be wrong in saying this, is our first Q1 appearance of the season. I might be wrong. We might have had a Q1 appearance earlier on in the season, sorry. maybe a America Kota. I remember that was a bit of a difficult weekend, but I can't remember if it was a Q1 entry or not. But we're in Q1 this time, and we've got to try and figure out the Balaton Park circuit in the dry, and it wasn't a good turn one. We got it completely wrong on the way into that hairpin at turn number 1. We've got just under 10 minutes though to put in a lap time worthy of a place inside the top 4. If you don't know how qualifying works, if you're new to MotoGP and you've stumbled across my channel in this video, in the Moto3 and Moto2 classes, you've got to be inside that top 4 in Q1 if you want to get into the Q2 session and join the top 14 from practice, which was obviously held in those wet conditions. But as we come through to the end of our first lap, a big Honda team major bike appears on the left-hand side. I think that's Buasri, as he looks to try and work his way through. There's some corners that the AI just seems to carry some incredible speed on, and that final corner is one of them. But as we get on the brakes, much better this time into turn 1. We get it stopped, and we're 0.6 of a second under our time. But we're coming into another zone where the AI are quite quick. We touched the inside curb there and didn't kind of carry the momentum through the first part of that, well, this kind of what is a triple left-hander as the Honda team major bike comes through. We're going to cut back under him though because we've got the momentum, and we'll move back ahead of him because we're quite strong on the brakes into here. We brake quite deep into the corner, and well, actually, to be fair, we could have broke later there because we turned in much earlier than we probably wanted to, climbing over the inside curbs. Now, to the end of the lap, 1.1 seconds in our back pocket. And as we head into the final chicane, we're very lucky there not to invalidate the lap, but it's all gone wrong through that left-hander. The bike snapping and kicking, and then we've got to kind of give the bike on the inside the room as well. And as we cross the line, it's going to be 1.5 seconds improvement, and it's only going to be P8. So no improvement there. And we remain bottom of the pile of riders who have actually set a time, because I don't think Uriarte has set a time in this session, although he might have actually just crossed the line there. But as we skip through the session to our final lap of the run, and we've got it all to do. We've got time to gain in this final sector. We're matching our previous best, but all our time lost on that lap was here. So if we can get this right, we will pick up a couple of tenths, and that looks much better through that left-hander. Get the power down, back one gear into here, and then get on the gas. It's 0.6 of a second improvement. Is it going to be enough though to climb inside that all-important top 4? We cross the line. It's going to be P2. We get inside of the top 4 in second place, but half a second adrift of Angel Piqueras, who dominates Q1 in Hungary. Ricky Rossi and Cormac Buchanan join us in Q2. So here we go then. For our first lap in Q2, we have 8 minutes remaining on the clock. It's Adrian Fernandez, our bitter rival in this career mode save on that Leopard Honda, who leads the way on a 44.5. Furisato second, and Jacob Rolston currently rounding out the front row. But that is all set to change as the clock ticks down. Coming to the end of our first flying lap, a 1:45.823. So we're still a way off what we managed in Q1 as we head into turn 1 to start what will probably be our faster out of the 2 laps with the first banker under our belt. We can risk a little bit more, and we're going to have to, because at this moment in time we are quite adrift of the pace setting Fernandez at this moment in time. 1.4 seconds now of David Munoz, who has moved his way up to pole position, provisional pole position, with just over 5 minutes remaining in the session. We are 0.3 underneath our time. We set a fastest overall second sector, orange first sector personal best, and if we go grey in the third or fourth sector, it means that we are slower than our personal best. But it is an orange third sector, that means the personal best, and it's going to be an improvement of nearly a second actually. We pick up time in that final chicane, but it's still going to mean that we're a good 0.8 of a second away from what is now Dennis Foggia, who's in the 43. It's a 43.981 across the line, and it's P13 at the end of our first run. And as we run wide to turn 1, we were unable to improve from there on in. So there's going to be a 13th place grid slot for ourselves for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Our rival Jose Antonio Rueda in 9th, and I'm looking for Piqueras, and he is absolutely nowhere to be seen. After dominating Q1, he's going to start 15th.
In a few moments, we'll move to the main straight to watch the start of the Moto3 race.
Here we go then, race time for the first time at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and it is overcast as anything here at the Balaton Park circuit. Could rain be inbound? We'll have to wait and see over the course of what will be 7 laps of this brand new circuit here in Hungary. Let's see what we can do. 23-degree air temperature, and the track temperature is nice and lovely as well. So let's see what we can do aboard the River Cold Snipers Honda from 13th on the grid. Bang on halfway in this Moto3 field. And let's see what we can do. And let's try and stay out of trouble in the opening couple of corners, because as we've seen in real life Grand Prix racing here at Hungary, and in the World Superbike Championship as well, the first couple of corners can be chaos. But here we go, we are underway, and it is a sluggish start from ourselves. Piqueras gets off to an absolute blinder as he shoots around the outside of a couple of riders. We get late on the brakes though, and we squeeze our way between one of the other MSI bikes, I think that was, and then we're going to cut our way back through up the inside of Ricky Rossi, and we're through into 8th place. Potentially, because Rossi's hanging it right around the outside. It was Rossi in Q1, not Buasri. There we go. You learn something new every day as riders change seats, because Ricky Rossi was obviously provisionally on the bike that we are on, and we took his ride. But anyway, that is pointless as we head down into turn 5 for the first time, trying to squeeze our way underneath Ricky Rossi, but no way through on the Italian. We're going to try and switch back once, switch back twice as we switch right, and then try and carry the speed and momentum, which we have done with pull to the inside, but we're going to have to back out of that one, and I'm glad that we did, because Ricky Rossi might have ended up on the floor there if we had gone up the inside. We have an investigation behind. Uriarte's crashed. I think that was Quiles as well, who was under investigation. So an incident further back for Uriarte has resulted in him crashing out of the race aboard the MLAV bike. But at the end, towards the end of the first lap, it's been a busy one for us, but we are holding P9 in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Uriarte picks up a warning despite crashing, so I don't know what happened further back, but actually we've got a faller, and already out of the race, Luca Lanetta on the Aspar bike. So Lanetta out of the Hungarian Grand Prix on the opening lap. We've got a long lap penalty as well for Eddie O'Shea further back, so something has kicked off towards the back of the Moto3 grid. But it's Dennis Foggia, his teammate to Lanetta, who's crashed out, who leads the way as Rueda. A nice little move up the inside of the final corner. He moves his way through to 9th, and we're relegated down to P10 at the end of the first lap of the Hungarian Grand Prix. But we're going to come back at Rueda down in towards turn number 1. We actually unintentionally go for Ricky Rossi as well, and we thread the eye of the needle between Ricky Rossi and Alvaro Carpe, but in the end we relinquish the position to Rueda, and now we've got to worry about Carpe's teammate and championship contender Angel Piqueras, who's going to try and come through on that empty helmet spike. He looks to the inside. We're going to give him a lot of the room though, and that is unfortunately us relegated down to 12th now, because Adrian Fernandez, our bitter rival in this one, if you get a glimpse of his name tag, you will see the angry face where Piqueras's little neutral face is and Rueda's smiley face. We're going to be met with Adrian Fernandez's big angry red face. But look at this, we get the switchback, we line it up beautifully, and we cut our way back through on Angel Piqueras and up into P10 once more. But out front it is Dennis Foggia leading the way, the sole remaining Aspar bike in this race, and he's got, damn, that is a fascinating line, I must say. From no wonder he's leading the race. If these are the lines that Dennis Foggia is taking in this Hungarian Grand Prix, then I am not surprised that the Italian is out front. Anyway, David Munoz is in second place on the intact bike, the Dynafol intact bike. Another cut of the corner and a wobble there from Foggia. He's testing the limits of this Hungarian circuit and beyond the track limits for the number 71 Aspar bike. So Foggia threading the eye of the needle literally there as he leads Munoz, who is the fastest man on track, briefly until we cross the line and do a 44.385, and then Cormac Buchanan rounding out the current podium positions. And look how deep we were on the brakes there. We get right up to the rear of that Red Bull KTM bike of Jose Antonio Rueda, who's still stuck behind Ricky Rossi and Alvaro Carpe. We have a huge slide on the rear, and that's now brought us back into contention of Fernandez, who's going to switch to the inside, try and carry the speed, and Fernandez is through and up into P10. So Fernandez is through, but we're going to try and come back round the outside of him. We're later on the brakes into here. We do get later on the brakes. We're back through ahead of Fernandez, but we've got that little bit of work to do again to close up to Rueda. So if we can stay within contention, we're stronger on the brakes into turn 1. We already know that. We've demonstrated that. So if we can stay within contention, we might be able to try and claw our way back to the rear of that KTM bike at the start of what will be lap 5. But as we go into turn number 9, we missed the braking point completely, run straight on, and that's going to be a second, I think, warning and mark against our name in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Got it completely wrong. We ran through the chicane, didn't really gain any time. We was 0.8 of a second behind Rueda going into that one, and I don't know where we are as we again missed the braking point. We're getting it all completely wrong on this lap 4, and we've dropped to 0.7 of a second, so we actually did gain a little bit of time on Jose Antonio Rueda there, so unintentionally gaining a bit of time. But as we skip on to the very next lap, we've got a faller, and it's Foggia from the lead of the race. Dennis Foggia, well, we saw him earlier on taking liberties around this Balaton circuit, and it has bit him, and he has crashed out of the lead of the race. And I don't believe it, for Aspar, the CF Moto team, both of their riders down on the floor. We're going to get a look at it as he tips into turn number 9, and he just took too much inside curb. It pushed him wide, and then he's fighting the bike back over to the right, and a little wobble for him sends him out of the race, and it means that Munoz now leaves this man Cormac Buchanan, and then I think that's Stefano Nepa in P3 with Furusato there in P4. So the victor of the Austrian Grand Prix last time out, and his teammate Nepa doing Mr. Simoncelli proud there in 3rd and 4th. But we've got company again in the form of our rival Adrian Fernandez, who blasts on by on that Leopard Honda and moves himself back into P9. We're going to come back at him though around the outside, and we do get through on the Spaniard into turn 1. We're late on the brakes. We actually missed the apex a little bit, but we do just about cover it off and back into P9. So after our 44.3, our little burst of pace, our pace has kind of fallen off. We've gone 45.2, 45.2. So we're back in the 45s, which is quicker than what we were on the second lap, but slower than our best of 44. So if we were able to do the 44s, maybe we might have gone forward, but instead we're now locked in battle with Fernandez, who cut his way back through at turn 4. We get back up the inside into turn 5, and we're back into what is P9, but only momentarily because he comes slicing his way back through. We're going to do the switchback though, and we get a beautiful aerial shot of that as we cut underneath him, and we're back into P9 in the Hungarian Grand Prix. But the gap to the group ahead, that is Rueda trailing, is getting bigger and bigger. It's 1.7 seconds as we start the final lap of the race. So I think all we can focus on now is defending that gap and that position, to Adrian Fernandez's Leopard Honda. We are 1.4 behind Rueda. Don't think we're going to be doing anything about that, and we just need to worry about that man there on the inside, Adrian Fernandez, who's now behind Piqueras. So our championship rivals, Piqueras and Fernandez, locked in a battle here for the final place inside the top 10. We've got a couple of tenths over them, but we need to make sure that we keep it that way, because a couple of points lost to Rueda, it won't be too bad. But Rueda's gone down on the final lap of the race. Rueda has crashed out of the race on the final lap, and now here comes Adrian Fernandez. We got distracted avoiding Rueda, and Fernandez blasts through. We go to the inside though into turn 15. We're wide, and we're going to make contact as we try and keep it on the track. There's contact with Fernandez, and it's again our championship rival and our fierce nemesis in this career mode that we come to blows with. But it's going to be a drag race with Piqueras. We crossed the line in P8. It's drama in the final lap of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Rueda crashing out of the race, but it's Munoz who takes victory, and he really does throw himself in championship contention, does David Munoz. Cormac Buchanan second. Nepa rounds out the podium in 3rd, with Furusato and Kelso finishing in 4th and 5th. As we flick our way through the results, we're looking for Jose Antonio Rueda. Adrian Fernandez is given a penalty and is demoted to 22nd in this race, which I think is a bit harsh. It was, if anything, the blame was on us, but a huge twist in the tail of the Moto3 World Championship. The gap is just 3 points to Piqueras now. Fernandez there in 3rd, 21 behind. Rueda, 22 back. Munoz is up into 5th, 36 back. So it's a 5-way fight, really. Keyless is still there, 60 points, 64, 66. Anybody is still within contention of this Moto3 World Championship, but absolute drama in the final lap of Hungarian Grand Prix, and we've got something coming from Adrian Fernandez. We're going to give him a bit of a heated reply back. We're going to keep this rivalry going between the two of us, but drama on the final lap of the Hungarian Grand Prix for the championship contenders. So this is what happened to Jose Antonio Rueda with a bit of a glitchy replay, so apologies about that, but he just used too much inside curb. Down he went, and that was all she wrote for Rueda's battle here in Hungary. But there we go, round 14 done and dusted. Next up, it's the Catalan Grand Prix, the Moto3 Catalonia at the Barcelona circuit. And hopefully we can claw some points, further points back on Piqueras, and maybe even take back the lead of the Moto3 World Championship, which would be absolutely perfect. But until then, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you for the Barcelona Catalan Grand Prix very soon. So until then, thanks for watching, and goodbye.